So you already knew that you were Israel?
We the children of Israel, yeah.
So you came up earlier and somebody you was from the tribe of Shabazz. So that ain't saying that you Israel. Those are two different things. Finish that up.
The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments.
See that? So that's how you get a good understanding, by keeping the commandments. So that's how you submit to God. So you asking how you submit to God, you got to keep the commandments.
No, I ain't asking how you submit. I said you have to submit to God.
But you got to keep the commandments. That's how you submit to God.
Right.
You know, you just can't say something and not do it.
You got to practice.
Get James 2. Be doers of the law. You got to be doers of the word. Meaning, if I'm going to show myself that I'm going to commit to God, then you got to be doing something. And that's what the Bible tells us we have to do. Don't say. Once you start to commit God, just get Deuteronomy 10:12. Once you start to commit God laws, then you will see that God will start working through you. Then you'll start getting the wisdom. You'll start getting understanding. Then you won't have to deal with all the lies and all the things that you coming with, you know, because you got to come with concrete evidence. You know what I mean? Turn this back around. Turn it back around. Deuteronomy 10:12. Read.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 10, verse 12. And now Israel, what doeth the Lord thy God require of thee? But to fear the Lord thy God, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart.
Read it from the top again. The brother wasn't paying attention.
And now Israel, what doeth the Lord thy God require of thee?
See that?
But to fear the Lord thy God.
How you fear?
To walk in all his ways.
How you do all of that? Here you go.
And to love him with all thy heart and with all thy soul. To keep the commandments of the Lord.
See that? So that's how you fear him. That's what you're supposed to be doing right now, is keeping the commandments. So once you learn who you are, because you understand that you're an Israelite now, right? You already knew that. So you already knew that you were Israel?
We the children of Israel, yeah.
So you came up earlier and somebody you was from the tribe of Shabazz. So that ain't saying that you Israel. Those are two different things. So if you know that you Israel, then you shouldn't even been coming with that foolishness. You know, you should have just came and said, I'm an Israelite, I want to learn more.
Right.
And the brother would have gave you more. Simple as that.
No, I said we was the children of Israel.
Alright, well since you know that you Israel, you know what you got to be doing then, right?
I know what I'm supposed to be doing here.
What is that?
Submitting to God.
Submitting to God. And how you submit to God?
Keeping his commandments.
Keeping the commandments, right? Mm-hmm. So what's the commandment?
Love thy God with all your heart.
You know how you do that? Everything you got to do it. Mm-hmm. You like give me Isaiah 29:13. This is what we do right here. We always say that, oh, we love God. We got to love God with all our heart. But you got to be doing something. That's the key. Read.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 29, verse 13. Wherefore the Lord said, for as much as this people draw near me with their mouth.
Who's those people? Blacks and Hispanics. We draw to God with our mouth. Don't you agree?
Yeah.
Read.
And with their lips do honor me.
Oh, I love you, Jesus. I love you, God. That's all we talk about. We lip service all day long. Read.
But have removed their heart far from me.
But God said we remove our hearts from him. Meaning we not longer keeping the commandments of God. Meaning we not longer keeping the Sabbath day holy. We buying, selling, cooking, defiling the Lord's Sabbath day. We're not supposed to be doing that. Read.
And their fear towards me is taught by the precept of men.
Right, so the only thing you know about God is what your oppressor give you, what the so-called white man give you. That's the only thing you know about God. Your Jesus, what you know about God, is Caesar Borgia. And I'm not talking you per se, you might know better now, but overall as a people, that's our image that we got. When we think about Jesus, we think about God, we don't think about God being a black man. We don't think about Jesus being a black man. We look at Caesar Bo. That's who we look at. Because that's who taught us the so-called white man. But God said we got to leave that alone. What you got, sister?
He had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and
Japheth.
Yeah. Talk about when his hand turned white. Do you know anything about that? When he put his hand in?
Oh, yeah, you're referring to Moses. So Exodus, yeah, let's get it. So that's pretty much that's a good thing, sis, because that shows who the original people color was. We was originally black people, right? That's who we were, right? So when you read it, it shows you that, damn, this is us in the Bible. Read.
The book of Exodus, chapter 4, verse 4. And the Lord said unto Moses, put forth thine hand, and take it by the tail. And he put forth his hand, and caught it.
And then verse 6, verse 6.
Oh, 6.
Same thing, but read verse 6.
Verse 6. And the Lord said furthermore unto him, put now thine hand into thy bosom. And he put his hand into his bosom.
So in other words, the chest, right? Right, read.
And when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow.
So it was leprous as snow. So his hand turned leprous. So think about this man, what's Caesar Bo at? Oh, right here. Think about this man right here. He was leprous like Caesar Bo. Just to give you that image, or a so-called white man today. Read.
Verse 7. And he said, put thine hand into thy bosom again. And he put his hand into his bosom again, and plucked it out of his bosom.
So he took his hand back out and put it back in, and what happened?
And behold, it was turned again as his other flesh.
His flesh turned back. And the Lord did the same thing to Miriam. Let's get that. Numbers 12. He did the same thing to Miriam. Why? Because he was disobedient. And that's what happens. And that's what happened with the curse of Esau. He came back in the spirit of Cain. He was cursed. Same thing. The Lord don't like disobedience. So if you disobedient to the Lord, he will curse you. Read.
The book of Numbers.
Let's read this. We got you.
The book of Numbers, chapter 12, verse 10. And the cloud departed from off the tabernacle, and behold, Miriam became leprous, white as snow. And Aaron looked upon Miriam, and behold, she was leprous.
See that? Same thing happened to her. She was leprous. The Lord smitten her with leprosy. Same thing. Go ahead.
To my understanding, Adam and Eve had, Cain and Abel. Okay, both those children were black, right? But then when you said Cain, the same thing happened with, just like it did with Miriam. So Cain was considered white.
No, it's
leprosy of, explain that for me.
so it's called regeneration, right? So when you come back into this earth, you regenerate. You never die off. You always come back every 4th generation. Let's prove that. Give me that in Exodus 20. Don't leave yet, bro. Yeah, 20 and about the 3rd and 4th generation. The fathers did wickedness. Verse 20. Right here, 5.
The book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 5. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God.
Why? Because our forefathers back then did the same thing. They worship other gods, right? Read.
Visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children.
See that? Said visiting the equity upon the children. Why? Because we are our forefathers. Meaning, the Lord didn't punish them right then and there. He punished us later on when we came back. So it shows regeneration over time. That's the same thing when we read Deuteronomy 28. It says, we will be cursed throughout our generations. Why? Because we will go come back. That's why when Moses spoke in Deuteronomy 28 verse 15, he spoke to our ancestors, right? He was speaking to our ancestors in the wilderness, but that didn't happen to them right away, right? It happened later on. So that's what the Lord is telling us. He's telling us, okay, don't worry. I will punish you. Probably won't be today, but you will get punished. Read Ecclesiastes 8:11. It talks about the same thing. Yes, finish that up.
Unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me.
All right, go to Ecclesiastes 8:11. So those are things that we got to understand, that we can't get away from God's judgment. We can die today, but we will still get judged from the things that we do. So you got to understand, you better do good. You better correct your mistakes while you here, while you got a chance. Read.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 8, verse 11. Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil.
So it was brought out earlier, because we don't think that we're going to get judged right away. So we'll go commit adultery, we'll go steal, but we probably won't get judged right away. So in our minds, we think we good. We think God ain't gonna judge us. So just because he don't judge you right then and there, does not mean he's not gonna judge you at all.
Right.
And eventually you will get judged. That's it on that. Go to Zechariah 13. About to wrap it up. Yeah. I'm gonna read this.
Book of Zechariah, chapter 13, verse 8. And it shall come to pass that in the land, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein.
Right. So those 2/3 that don't want to listen to God. And it's talking about of our own people. Don't want to listen to God. So you got to understand that you might not get judged right then and there, but you will eventually get judged when it comes in that time in the judgment day. So understand that. So brothers, sister, I hope to see you at the school. I hope y'all get yourselves together, and come to the school and keep God's commandments. That's all we got to say. Go to Matthew 26.
The book of Matthew, chapter 26, verse 6. Now when Jesus was in Bethany, in the house of Simon the leper, there came unto him a woman, having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his head, as he sat at meat. But when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, to what purpose is this waste?
Right, so this is Christ's burial, right? So this sister, she was doing a good work for Christ. Read.
For this ointment might have been sold for much, and given to the poor. When Jesus understood it, he said unto them, Why trouble ye the woman? For she hath wrought a good work upon me. For ye have the poor always with you, but me ye have not always.
So we got the poor of our people with us till this day. That's why we got to look out for one another, and we got to. We all do we have. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, we got to stop killing each other. We got to stop hating each other. We got to stop selling drugs to one another. We got to love each other, right? But we got to do it through God and the commandments. Read.
For in that she hath poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Verily, I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this, that this woman hath done, be told for a memorial of her.
What is a nation? Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is men leading by example. Nation is women's support. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation is you. It's nation time. He's strong enough.